In today's world, the constant noise of social media, the scrutinizing gaze of others, and endless comparisons can easily cause us to lose our way. We get swept up in the whirlwind of expectations and external standards, often forgetting the real reason we live: to grow each day for ourselves, not to please or surpass anyone else. What truly matters is not whether you move faster than those beside you, but whether you are further than you were yesterday. Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them." True happiness and success don't come from the recognition or applause of others, but from the ability to control ourselves, to grow from within, and totally fully in line with our own values, regardless of the noise outside. If you want to change your life, start with silence. Learn to turn inward and focus on building yourself. Below are 7 practical ways to train your ability to focus on yourself, not others. Quietly upgrading yourself and letting your life speak for itself. 1. Focus on yourself. Don't compare, focus on yourself. Don't compare yourself with others, yourself with others. In the silent spaces between our thoughts, we often find a restless or ghetto look sideways. We check where others stand, how quickly they are moving, how brightly their lives appear to shine. Modern life, amplified by social media and endless conversations, feeds this urge relentlessly. With every scroll, we encounter curated snapshots of successful careers flourishing, relationships thriving, happiness seemingly within everyone's grasp but our own. And so, almost without realizing, we start measuring ourselves against these images, against people whose journeys we barely understand. Comparison is the shortest path to dissatisfaction. It quietly erodes gratitude for what we have and blurs the vision of our own path. When you compare yourself to others, you begin to see only what you lack. Someone else is faster, richer, more admired, more loved. But this kind-off thinking is a trap. The truth is, every person is running their own race, starting from a unique beginning, facing invisible hurdles and carrying different burdens. To judge your progress against someone else's is not only unfair to yourself, it's meaningless. Imagine a runner in a race-fixated note in the finish line ahead, but on the athletes to either side. Every glance, every moment of distraction costs them precious focus. Their steps falter, their stride stutters, and eventually they stumble. They trip not because they're incapable, but because they forgot to keep their eyes on their own path. This image is more than a metaphor. It is the quiet reality of how comparison can sabotage our progress. By looking outward, we lose sight of what's right in front of us, our own growth, our own story. The Stoics understood this deeply. They knew that the source of genuine strength and happiness is found within, not in external validation or rivalry. The philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." This call is not just a rejection of comparison. It is an invitation to radical self-ownership. When you stop worrying about whether you are better or worse than someone else, you begin to focus all your energy on becoming the best version of yourself. Think about what happens when you truly shift your focus inward. You become attuned to your own progress, however small. You celebrate the subtle victories, an hour spent learning a new skill, a moment of patience in a difficult situation, a decision to be kinder than yesterday. The race becomes personal. Suddenly, it doesn't matter how fast others are running or how loud their applause may be. Your sense of achievement springs from the quiet satisfaction of self-mastery. This is not to say that you ignore others completely. The world is full of inspiration. We learn from the stories and achievements of those around us. But Stoicism teaches us to draw motivation, not envy, from the lives of others. The moment admiration turns into comparison, though, is the moment we invite suffering in. As Seneca observed, no man was ever wise by chance. Wisdom, growth, and happiness are not accidents of birth or luck. They are the outcomes of steady, deliberate effort day after day, regardless of who happens to be watching. Our culture often glorifies competition, as if life were a constant contest, with clear winners and losers. But the Stoic view is different. Life is not a race against anyone else. Your only rival is who you were yesterday. When you stop measuring your worth against external standards and start measuring it by your own progress, you'll break free from the exhausting cycle of disappointment and insecurity. Moreover, comparison distracts us from gratitude. When we are always reaching for what someone else has, we overlook the abundance already present in our lives. The Stoics encouraged reflection and gratitude as daily practices, not as glitches, but as anchors for the mind. When you pause to appreciate your journey, your strengths, and even your struggles, you fortify yourself against noise and chaos outside. When you dedicate yourself to your own progress quietly and persistently, you honor your values and shape your character. No comparison is needed. The person you become in the process is your truest reward. So focus on yourself. Guard your attention. Be patient with your pace. In the silence where you turn inward, Yah will find the clarity and strength to upgrade your life. Not for applause, not for competition, but for the deepest fulfillment possible, becoming more fully yourself. To turn loneliness into a power, to improve yourself. Improve yourself. There are moments in life when the greatest act of self-love is not to seek out the crowds, not to add another post to the endless scroll, but to deliberately step back and embrace a quiet solitude. In a world obsessed with broadcasting every achievement and documenting every meal, the decision to withdraw, to go silent, can feel radical, almost like a rebellion. Yet true growth often thrives away from the noise and the stillness that only solitude can provide. Choosing to disappear for a time does not mean abandoning society or rejecting human connection. Instead, it is a conscious pause, a retreat designed for healing, for renewal, and for a focused return to one's own values and goals. Many people fear loneliness, equating it with emptiness or isolation. Associate with people who are likely to improve you. Welcome those whom you are capable of improving. Seneca. This quote from Seneca speaks not only to the value of wise company, but also tough wisdom of selective association. Sometimes the most important company you can keep is your own. When you step away from shallow conversations, from the pressure to perform or impress, you are left with the raw material of yourself, your thoughts, your strengths, your weaknesses. This is where real growth begins. In solitude, you can honestly assess who you are and who you wish to become, free from the distortions and judgments of others. In our hyper-connected era, the idea of going ghost is both powerful and misunderstood. It is not about shutting the world out forever, but about giving yourself that time and space needed to focus deeply on your own journey. Consider the story of a YouTuber who decided to transform his health. Rather than updating his audience with every meal or every lost pound, he vanished from social media. He stopped feeding the expectation of constant updates and instead turned downward, using his energy for the struggle of self-improvement. Months later, he re-emerged, changed, not just physically, but mentally, radiating the quiet confidence that comes from a victory earned in silence. This quiet period is when you learn who truly cares. Without the visibility of your presence, the superficial relationships often drift away, leaving behind only those who reach out, who notice your absence, and who value your existence beyond teletest update or achievement. It's a necessary sorting process. By going silent, you allow the noise to settle and see clearly the true bonds that matter. For many, this process is uncomfortable. The urge to share, to seek approval, to compare progress is deeply ingrained. Yet, stepping away is the first act of courage required to build a life that is truly your own. You reclaim your focus, your time, and your energy, rather than scattering your attention in 100 directions. You pour it into the single task of becoming better today than you were yesterday. When you choose solitude, you are nothing. You are refining. Like a sword in the fire, you become sharper, stronger, and more resilient. Not because anyone else is watching but Beck. The process itself transforms you. Loneliness then is not a void to be filled, but a crucible to be embraced. Within it, you find the freedom to try, to fail, to learn, and to grow without the burden of outside judgment. This is the space where real change happens. Not loudly, but quietly, persistently. Until one day the results speak for themselves. As you walk this path, remember the wisdom of Seneca. Cherish the company aft hose who lift you higher. But never fear the company of your own thoughts. Let solitude be your sanctuary, not your sentence. With every silent effort, you are building a foundation no applause can shake. A life that stands strong, quietly, powerful, and wholly your own. In the end, it is in the quiet space saw away from applause and critique that you discover your true capacity to grow. Let your improvement be silent. Let your progress be steady. And when the time is right, return to the world not for approval, but to inspire others to seek their own strength in silence. 3. Choose the right close circle and choose. It's the right close circle and protect your personal energy. Protect your personal energy. Success is rarely a solo journey, while discipline and determination are essential. The people you choose to surround yourself with will either elevate or deplete you. In a world flooded with distractions and surface-level connections, your close circle becomes a sanctuary, a space where your spirit is either nurtured or drained. When you share your dreams with people who are cynical, negative, or quick to give up, their energy seeps into your own mindset. They might not say it outright, but their doubt and indifference act like invisible weights, quietly pulling you away from your goals. That is why protecting your personal energy means being ruthless about the company you keep. You don't have to be harsh or dramatic, but you must be honest. Ask yourself, do the people closest to you inspire you to be better? Do they challenge you, encourage you? Show up for you, not only in moments of celebration, but also in times of struggle and uncertainty. Or do they chip away at your motivation with criticism, gossip, or constant reminders of your limitations? Stoicism teaches us the value of this vigilance. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, your mind will be like its habitual thoughts, for the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. But it's not just your own thoughts. It's the thoughts and attitudes you absorb from those around you. If your circle is full of those who see only obstacles, who retreat at the first sign of discomfort, your own spirit will inevitably fade into the same shade of resignation. Yet if you build your circle with the who ignite possibility, who hold you accountable, and who dare to dream with you, your soul will reflect that same courage and ambition. This is the practical wisdom of Stoicism. Protect your inner peace, not only by mastering your own mind, but by choosing carefully whose voices you allow into your space. Consider the example of David Goggins, a man whose philosophy forged in hardship and resilience. Goggins often speaks about his foxhole, the handful of people he trusts to have his back when life gets hard. For him, it's not about surrounding himself with the most talented or successful. It's about loyalty, grit, and an unwillingness to give up when things get up. He looks for people who will stay in the fight alongside him, who will run the extra mile, stay up late, and hold steady when the world is falling apart. These aren't just friends. They are allies in growth. Goggins understands what the Stoics taught centuries ago. You cannot soar if those around you are anchored to the ground. Cutting ties or distancing yourself from certain relationships may feel uncomfortable, even harsh. Yet, as you outgrow old versions of yourself, some connections will naturally fade. This isn't selfishness. It's self-respect. You are not obligated to remain in environments or relationships that undermine your purpose or sap your enthusiasm for life, like a gardener pruning a tree. Sometimes you must let go of what no longer serves you to create space for stronger, healthier growth. When you intentionally curate your close circle, you set higher standards for yourself and those around you. This doesn't mean you seek only people who agree with everything you say or flatter your ego. True allies will challenge you. They will point out your blind spots and push you to reach beyond what you thought possible. They offer honesty, but never with the intent to diminish you, always to help you rise. They are the ones who celebrate your victories and hold you steady during defeat. Who remind you of your potential when you're tempted to settle for less? Stoicism reminds us that external circumstances are beyond our control, but our reactions and our chosen environment are within our grasp. If you want to protect your energy, begin with your boundaries. This means being selective with your time, your conversations, and your presence. You cannot control every situation, but you can choose the quality of the company you keep. Protecting your energy is not about isolation. It's about elevation. It's the quiet, ongoing process of building a community that encourages you to become the best version of yourself as you reflect on your own circle. Who would stay in the foxhole with you? Who pushes you to be stronger, to think deeper, to dream bigger? And just as importantly, are you that kind of person for others? Growth is a mutual journey. If you want to surround yourself with inspiring people, be thickened of person who inspires. Energy is contagious. Be mindful of what you share and of what you accept. In the next part, we'll dive into a skill that's essential not just for choosing the right people, but for truly standing on your own. The art of deep attention, focus, and independent think. How do you tune out the noise, sharpen your mind, and trust your inner voice in a chaotic world? Stay with me. What comes next might just change the way you experience every moment. 4. Practice attention, concentration. Practice attention, concentration, and independent thinking. And independent thinking. Success in its truest form is not a matter of doing more, but of doing what truly matters. In a world that constantly tempts us with distraction, the ability to control our attention, maintain deep focus, and nurture independent thought is both rare and precious. The ancient Stoics, centuries before the advent of smartphones and social media, already understood the power and necessity of inner discipline. They knew that only by mastering the movements of the mind could one withstand the storms of life and remain unmoved by the shifting tides of public opinion. Attention, at its core, is more than simply noticing what's around us. It is the deliberate act of directing our mental energy towards what is essential while letting the trivial and the noisy fall away. When you train yourself to pay attention in this way, you reclaim ownership over your mind. You cease to be a passive receiver of whatever the world throws at you, and instead become an active participant in shaping your own experience. Focus then becomes the deeper art of sustaining this attention. Immerse yourself in one task, one idea, or one goal, blocking out the endless demand sand, the empty chatter that threaten to fragment your day and drain your spirit. The Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This insight is both simple and profound. If your thoughts are scattered, anxious, and reactive to every little thing that happens, you will inevitably find yourself exhausted, unsettled, and at the mercy of forces beyond your control. But if your thoughts are clear, intentional, and anchored in what truly matters, you'll create a calm center within yourself. In this calmness, you can act with purpose rather than react out of habit or emotion. It is this mental clarity that separates those who drift through life from those who shape it. The capacity to maintain attention and focus is not innate. It is a skill that must be cultivated through practice and patience. It requires the courage to say no to distractions, to ignore the noise of comparison and to stand apart from the dramas that ensnare so many. It means asking yourself in each moment, is this worthy of my attention? Does this serve my higher purpose, or does it pull me away from who I want to become? History is filled with 7 samples of people who achieved greatness not through superhuman talent, but through an unwavering commitment to focus. Andrew Carnegie, one of the most influential industrialists of his time, credited much of his success to the simple act of sustained concentration. Carnegie was known for his ability to give his full attention to the task at hand, shutting out distractions and dedicating himself completely to his goals. This discipline enabled him to spot opportunities that others missed, to solve complex problems, and to build an empire from humble beginnings. Carnegie's story is a testament to what becomes possible when you direct your energy day after day toward what matters most without allowing yourself to be sidetracked by the fleeting opinions or emotions of others. Moreover, independent thinking is the natural companion of deep focus. When you are no longer swayed by the crowd or seeking validation from the outside, you begin to think for yourself. You question, you reflect, and you arrive at your own conclusions. This, too, is at the heart of Stoic philosophy. The conviction that your worth is not measured by the approval of others, but by your ability to live in alignment with your own reason and values. As you strengthen your focus and attention, you naturally develop the confidence to stand alone, to choose your own path, and to trust your own judgment. Practicing attention, concentration, and independent thinking is a quiet revolution. It happens not in grand gestures, but in silent moments when you choose clarity over chaos, depth over distraction, and purpose over popularity. It is in these choices made again and again that you build the foundation for a meaningful and resilient life. One that is not easily shaken by the world outside, but quietly empowered from within. 5. Be persistent with the process. Be persistent with the process. On the journey to personal transformation, nothing is more underrated than persistence. In a world obsessed with quick wins and overnight success stories, people forget that the path to any real achievement is paved with setbacks, mistakes, and moments of doubt. The road to success is always, as they say, under construction. No one ever made it to the top without first spending time at the very bottom, learning what it means to fail and to rise again. It's easy to look at the who have made it, the celebrated names and icons of our time, and see all their triumphs. But behind every victory is a mountain of unseen struggles. Steve Jobs was famously fired from the very company he founded, only to return years later and revolutionize the world of technology. Michael Jordan, considered one of the greatest athletes of all time, was cut from his high school basketball team. Elon Musk faced countless rejections and failures before making breakthroughs with Tesla and SpaceX. What separates these people from the rest is not some superhuman talent, but a stubborn, relentless commitment to the process itself. 2. Showing up, learning, failing, and trying again. Stoic philosophy teaches us that the journey matters far more than the destination. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. This principle is at the heart of persistence. Obstacles are not there to stop us, but to teach us. Every failure is not a dead end, but a lesson, a push to refine our approach and strengthen our resolve. The Stoics believed that we grow through adversity, not in spite of it. When we learn to fall in love with the process, to embrace the effort, the setbacks, and the slow daily grind, we begin to see challenges not as threats, but as invitations to become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Too often, people give up after the first failure or the 10th or the 30th. They lose faith in themselves and their journey. But real growth comes from persistence, from writing down your goals, building a vision for your life, and pursuing it with unwavering dedication. No matter how many times you are knocked down, the mind is far stronger than the body. Our willpower, our ability to get up one more time, is what truly shapes our destiny. When you focus on progress, not perfection, not applause, you free yourself from the need for external validation. You start to move for yourself, not for others. And this is where true change happens. Remember, what truly matters is not how many times you fail, but how many times you choose to keep going. Each step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. Stay persistent. Fall in love with the process and let your life speak for itself. What about you? Have you ever wanted to give up but found the strength to keep going? Share your story in the comments below. Your journey might inspire someone else who needs it most. Keep your plan a secret. 6. Keep your plan a secret. In an age where every step is broadcast, every intention announced, and every milestone eagerly shared for approval, choosing to keep your plans to yourself is a quiet act of strength. Silence is not passivity. It is focus, discipline, and a profound confidence in the value of your own journey. When you decide to nurture your goals in private, you remove the distractions of outside judgment, praise, and even envy. What remains is a sacred space, a quiet workshop where your dreams are given their chance to mature away from the noise and opinions of the world. True success does not need to parade itself. It does not seek validation from others, nor does it require the spotlight to grow. In fact, the more we seek recognition before true work is done, the more our energy is dissipated, scattered by reactions, vulnerable to criticism, or even worse, prematurely satisfied by fleeting applause. The Stoics understood this truth deeply. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man's hold be. Be one." This simple command is a reminder that our lives are shapen not by what we declare, but by what we quietly become. Or Aurelius urges us to direct our energy inward, to focus on action and transformation rather than on endless self-promotion. This principle finds evidence everywhere around us. Consider those who have achieved true mastery: athletes, artists, innovators. They work in silence, letting sweat and determination lay the foundation for their breakthroughs. Their success is not a result of public declarations, but of countless private hours, of discipline, and of unwavering commitment behind closed doors. And when their achievements finally come to light, they are undeniable. Moreover, sharing plans too soon can expose you to the negativity or doubts of others. Even well-meaning friends or family may project their own fears and limitations onto your goals, subtly undermining your confidence. Worse still, the world is full of envy. Those who see your ambition as a threat, a challenge to their own insecurities. By keeping your plans to yourself, you protect your inner peace and preserve the energy you need for growth. Your motivation is then rooted in a deep personal conviction rather than the shallow approval of others. Ultimately, the Stoic approach is a boot self-mastery. It is the discipline to remain undisturbed by outside chatter, to refuse the need for recognition, and to invest fully in your own progress. When you keep your plan a secret, you give yourself permission to fail, to adjust, to grow free from the spotlight and the judgments of others. In this silence, you cultivate a resilience and determination that cannot be shaken. Only when your work is truly ready will it reveal itself to the world. And then no one can deny what you have accomplished. Take responsibility for your life. 7. Take responsibility for your life. One of the most profound shifts you can make in your journey of self-mastery is the moment you decide to take full responsibility for your life. This isn't just a cliche. It's the heart of growth and the turning point where true change becomes possible. In a world that is quick to offer excuses, to blame circumstances, or to wait for someone else's validation, embracing responsibility sets you apart. It is in this silent act, often invisible to the world, that strength and freedom are born. No one else can train, study, or change for you. Your friends, your mentors, even your family can encourage and support you. But through work, the effort, and the transformation are ultimately yours alone. This is a truth that's sometimes uncomfortable to accept, but it is also the most liberating. When you face a dark season in life, a setback, a loss, or a personal crisis, it is tempting to seek comfort in blame or to wait for rescue. But Stoicism reminds us that freedom comes when we choose to respond rather than react, and when we accept that our lives are the sum of our own decisions. Think of it as walking into a gym alone. There is no one to remind you to show up, no gym partner to hold you accountable. The weights won't lift themselves. Every rep, every drop of sweat, every yearly morning you choose to get out of bed. These moments build not just your body, but your character. You become your own greatest motivator, your own driving force. This sense of agency is empowering because it teaches you that you are not at the mercy of outside forces or dependent on someone else's approval. Pursue what matters to you. You are the only person who can take those steps, whether in the gym, at work, or in the quiet decisions you make each day a butho to live. There is something quietly noble in this kind of self-discipline. It doesn't need applause. It doesn't shout for attention. Instead, it is the daily silent choice to do the right thing even when no one else is watching. Over time, results become impossible to ignore. Growth, confidence, and a deep sense of inner freedom. By accepting full responsibility for your actions, you discover what you are truly capable of. You stop waiting for life to change and begin to change it from within. In the end, the greatest gift you can give yourself is this: to look in the mirror and know that regardless of the noise or expectations outside, you are the author of your own story. CONCOSIO in life is a personal journey, not a race against anyone else. True success isn't measured by beating others, but by becoming a better version of yourself bit by bit, day by day. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, perseverance over giving up, and focus over comparison, you move closer to real fulfillment. Don't waste your energy on arguments, chasing recognition, or measuring your worth through someone else's lens. Instead, allow yourself to grow quietly. Work hard, stay positive, and let your sizzle speak for you. Remember, happiness and success don't come from the applause of others, but from your own progress. Every single day, every moment. The journey of self-improvement is never loud. It's built on small, consistent steps that transform your life in ways you never expected. So, what about you? Which of these 7 ways will you start practicing today to focus more on yourself and less on others? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found value in this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more content on Stoicism and self-growth. Let's build a community that inspires and uplifts each other one step at a time.